الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. I told you that if you look at this chapter we do today, Bab al-Salati fil Ka'bati, the chapter of the Salah in the Kaaba. Technically speaking, this is supposed to come earlier, like Salat al-Kusuf, Salat al-Khusuf, all that type of thing is supposed to be there. But the reason why the author brought the separate is because tayammunan tabarrukan, alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we've come to the end of the chapter of Salat after 1.5 years. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from us. We've come to the end of the chapter on Salat. This is the last bab. So like you say, al-i'tibaru bil khawatim. We want to end on a good note, end with discussing the Kaaba. So the chapter is with regards to reading Salah in the Kaaba, right? Yeah. And Allah Ta'ala mentions in the Quran, وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. Whoever enters the haram, then he's got aman, he's got aman. So what you say, tafa'ulan, tayamunan, as a good omen, as a good, what you say, a good omen, like to end on a nice note, on a sweet note. The last thing we'll discuss is reading Salah in the Kaaba. Then after this, inshallah, very interesting topic which I was looking forward to myself. I haven't taught this before. I haven't taught it for a long time. Okay, we taught it in Mishkat Sharif, the chapter of Zakat, right, which would be very academic. It will be slightly more difficult in this year because obviously Ibadat is simple. As you progress deeper into Hidaayah, what you will know, Luqman, as you progress deeper, you go deeper, becomes more difficult, the Ibadah becomes more mughlaq. So Zakat will be a bit more technical, inshallah. So if you look at the word Ka'abun, you refer to your ankles also as Ka'ab. Why? Because it's a protruding bone, right? So Ka'aba means something which protrudes. So, okay, today there's so many big buildings that dwarf the Kaaba, but back in the day, it was the biggest building. So it was as opposed to the other dwellings around it, it was a protruding building, right? Are you with me? Okay, read Bismillah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. باب الصلاة في الكعبة. الصلاة في الكعبة جائزة فرضها ونفلها خلافا للشافعي فيهما ولمالك في الفرض لأنه عليه الصلاة والسلام صلى في جوف الكعبة يوم الفتح ولأنها صلاة ولأنها صلاة استجمعت شرائطها لوجود استقبال القبلة. لأن استيعابها.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة في الكعبة جائزة. The first thing is saying that Salah in the Kaaba is permissible. So it means, I told you maybe nowadays you have to be a dignitary to enter the Kaaba. Nowadays you have to be a dignitary to enter the Kaaba, but maybe in previous days they were not so strict. Yeah, you must be a king, or you must be a queen, or you must be some leader or prime minister. But if you make it into the Kaaba and you want to read 2 rakats nafil namaz, that's technical permissible, right? So yeah, according to us, the Hanafi madhab, farduha wa nafluha, the farad and the nafal, both is permissible. So if somebody decides to go into the Kaaba and they want to make Jamaat, etc., khilafan lishafi'i fihima, contrary to Imam Shafi. So Imam Shafi opposes in both. Imam Shafi says that not farz and not nafil is permissible, right? Wali Malikin fil fardhi, as Imam Malik opposes only with regards to the farz namaz. What does Imam Malik say? You can read nafil in the Kaaba, but you can't read farz, right? And what's our proof? See, لأنه صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى في جوف الكعبة يوم الفتح, that Nabi Kareem صلى الله عليه وسلم, Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم read Salah in the Kaaba on the day of Fath Makkah. That famous when he went in and then he effaced all the idols inside the walls of the Kaaba. There was pictures of idols. There was apparently pictures of, I think, if I remember correctly, you people done this in Qasas part 5. Huh? Tamathil, yeah. There was pictures of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam apparently, and there was like drawings of Ismail alayhi salam, etc., etc. So Nabi wiped all that out because obviously that's also a proof for pictures that you shouldn't have pictures of animate objects, etc. So Nabi Sallallahu wiped that all out and he read 2 rakats there. So that is like Sahibi Hidaayah's habit is that he first bring the textual evidence and then he bring the aqli evidence, right? ولأنه صلاة استجمعت شرائطها لوجود استقبال القبلة. The second, now the logical reason is this is a salat in which all the conditions of salat is found. You know, we done, Luqman, we done all the conditions of salah, qibla, wudu, etc., etc. So when you are in the Kaaba and you're reading salah, when you are in the Kaaba and you are reading salah, then you are facing the qibla, even though you're not facing the complete qibla, but you're still facing the qibla. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Aina ma tuwallu, what? No, not this one. Another the verse, Aina tuwallu thamma wajhullah, that one. Fawallu wujuhakum shatra. Allah Ta'ala says that fawallu, your face in the direction of the Kaaba. Right? That's where we get the instruction of that qibla is a sharat of salah. Fawallu wujuhakum shatra. Then face your face towards the qibla. So if you are in the Kaaba, you are fulfilling the condition. So all the conditions of salat are found. So logically speaking, it should not be a problem, right? That's what he's saying. وَلِأَنَّهُ صَلَاةٌ إِسْتَجْمَعَتْ شَرَائِطُهَا. This is salah where all the conditions are found. Why? لِوُجُودِ إِسْتِقْبَالِ الْقِبْلَةِ, because you are facing the qibla. And then the next ibarat is quite interesting. Who can tell me what this means? See if you can work it out. لأن استيعاب ليس بشرط. What does that mean, Luqman? Who can tell me what it means? لأن استيعاب ليس بشرط. What does that mean? Huh? Right, mashallah, very good. So he's saying, you must go. Where are you going now? So tell Sheikh Hajjusal to see me, must come in to speak to him. So it's correct. They say, look here, for your salah to be valid, it's not a condition that you face the whole Kaaba, right? It's just you must face the direction of the Kaaba. That's what correct what you would. لأن استيعابها, to face the whole Kaaba, ليس بشرط. It is not a condition. It is not a condition. There's some interesting, very relevant masail that's coming forward here. The ulama ask a lot of time is coming just now, inshallah. Carry on.
فإن صلى الإمام بجماعة فيها فجعل بعضهم ظهره إلى ظهر الإمام جاز.
Subhanallah, this is interesting masla. If, let's look at the masla first, the surah masla. If, for example, you're making Jamaat in the Kaaba, right? The surah today would be maybe you missed your namaz and you are addicted. Sheikh, can we speak to Mu'attari? Say, for instance, you're making Jamaat in the Kaaba, right? So the Imam is facing one direction and you facing with your back facing another direction. You understood that? They say it will be permissible. Why? Because you are still facing the Kaaba. You understood? See that? But in Salah al-Imamu bi jama'atin fiha, if the Imam reads Jamaat in it, فَجَعَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ ظَهْرَهُ إِلَى ظَهْرِ الْإِمَامِ, and some of the Musallin, they put their back, they place their back إِلَى ظَهْرِ الْإِمَامِ, to the back of the Imam. Jaza, it's fine. Why it's fine? Because the condition of Qibla is still found. لأنه متوجه إلى القبلة, because he is facing Qibla, right? ولا يعتقد إمامه الخطأ, and he will not think that his Imam is wrong. they're making a reference to another masala. Yeah, let me explain to you this masala. This is an interesting masala. Say, for instance, you are traveling, right? You are traveling and you don't know where is the Qibla, right? So what is the masla? When you don't know where is the Qibla, you're going on safar, you're traveling from here to Joburg, or anywhere you're traveling, it's already night time, you can't see the sun, because here in South Africa, it's easy to work out the Qibla. Ne? How you work out the Qibla here in South Africa? The setting sun must be on your left shoulder. The setting sun must be on your, then you will be facing northeast, right? But say it was nighttime already, there was no one there, you had no phone, you had no compass, nothing. So what do you do in that case, Yusuf? What do you do? You make tahari, right? Luqman, what you do? You make tahari. So now each one made their own tahari, right? So the Imam says Qibla is this direction, and the Muqtadi says no, Qibla is this direction. Then that Muqtadi can't follow that Imam. Why? Because look here, when you don't know which is the Qibla, what becomes your Qibla, Luqman? The tahari becomes the mutaharra alay, the place which your mind takes you to, that becomes your Qibla. That becomes your Qibla. So this is a general masla, by the way, you learn this wherever you're traveling, you're going anywhere, you're going anyway, you don't have a phone. Like nowadays, you can work with the phone out if you know those are tech savvy, or you got the compass, or you ask somebody, tell me which side is the sunset here, whatever. You got nothing of that. So you will just apply your mind. And whenever you apply your mind, that will become your Qibla. That will become your Qibla. Right? So now, what they say here is this, that if the Imam came to a different tahari, the Imam came to a different tahari, and the Muqtadi became to a different tahari. So you, the Muqtadi, can't follow that Imam. Why? Because according to you, he's reading in the wrong direction. You say no, Qibla is this way, to the right. He say no, Qibla is to the left. So your Qibla is different to his Qibla. So in your mind, he's following the wrong Qibla. What's he doing? And according to you, you're following the correct Qibla, so you can't follow somebody which is wrong. This also just came to your barakah, this masla came to my mind also now, that we speak about following the other madhahib. Here's a proof to say that if something is not acceptable in your madhab, you can't follow another madhab, because you have to follow according to what is right. Like the masla is simple masla. In the Hanafi madhab, if you bleed, your wudu break. So now the Shafi Imam, he bled, so you can't follow him. Well, although you get some maybe liberal ulama, even in the Hanafi madhab, but they will tell no, so long as it's according to his madhab is right. But there is it quite clear. Here's our proof to say, look here, you must follow according to you what is correct. According to you, if a person bled, his wudu broke. So according to his salah is not correct. So how can you follow him? I'll give you another example. Salafis, whatever, they make masa on the cotton socks. So you say, okay, but in their madhab it is fine. So you say, no, there is a proof. You follow according to you what is correct. You don't follow according to him what he is correct. You understand what I'm saying? Another more relevant masla which we say now, if you are end up in the Haramain Sharifain in Ramadan, and there the Imam is reading 2 rakats in 1 rakat, some ulama are saying no, you can follow them. It's also okay because in their madhab is correct. But what does it say here? When according to you the Imam is wrong, you can't follow the Imam. When according to you the Imam is wrong, you can't follow the Imam, because according to you the Imam is following the wrong direction. So how can you follow him? نحن على الثواب مع احتمال الخطأ. We are on the correct, but there's a possibility we're right, but we are on the correct, right? So they're saying that here in the Kaaba, the Imam can be facing one direction and the Muqtadi can be facing another direction, no problem, right? But بخلاف مسألة التحري. But contrary to مسألة التحري, in Tahari, if the Imam is facing in a different direction, you can't follow him. ومن جعل منهم ظهره إلى وجه الإمام لم تجوز صلاته. So we say ومن جعل منه ظهره إلى وجه الإمام لم تجوز تقدم على إمامه. But if he stands in front of the Imam, so look at this, the Imam, so he's standing face to face with the Imam. In simple words, what he's doing? He's standing face to face with the Imam. Then it will not be permissible. Why? Because he's in front of the Imam, and you cannot be in front of the Imam. And this is also very important, Masla. I will discuss it with you. Okay, in the next bar, I want to discuss it, because many times in Masjid Nabawi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sometimes you will see, I don't even notice that the sufuf outside Masjid Nabawi is going beyond the masjid. That's not permissible in the Hanafi madhab. I think it's not even permissible in the Hanbali madhab. They are supposed to be Saudi. They're supposed to be Hanbalis. But they say they're Hanbalis, but when their madhab is weak, they follow the hadith. The only person this is permissible is in the Maliki madhab. So normally they have, you'll see, I don't know if Lukman, you weren't there in a very busy time, but when it's very, very busy, they have a board on, you see, next to in line with the Imam, and they'll tell you that the Imam is here. So if you, according to your mother, you can't go to the Imam, beyond the Imam, then you mustn't go beyond that board, right? They have you saw that board. It's al-Imam hina or something like that. Something. So you can't go beyond that. So you must remember that if the Masjid Nabawi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is very, very full, and sometimes you find yourself outside on the sehen, on the right side or the left side, the white marble, you can't stand in front of the Imam. Remember, we got done this masala in detail that your toes can be in front of the Imam's toes because sometimes your feet is bigger, but your heels can't be in front of. So according to the Hanafi madhab, the moment your heels is in front of the heels of the Imam, for whether it's a man or lady or not, it's not right. So here he's saying, so the Imam, the Muqtadi in the Kaaba can be standing in the opposite direction of the Imam. Imam is facing one, he's facing with his back to the Imam. That will be fine because he's still making Qibla and he's behind the Imam. But if he stands in front of the Imam and he faces the Imam, that won't be correct. Because although he is facing Qibla, but in this condition is lost that you must be behind the Imam. You understood that? So, ومن جعل منهم ظهره إلى وجه الإمام لم تجوز صلاته للتقدم على إمامه because he's standing in front of the Imam. Right. Okay. Read the next Ibarat.
بخلاف مسألة التحري ومن جعل منهم ظهره إلى وجه الإمام لم تجد صلاته لتقدمه على إمامه. إذا صلى الإمام في المسجد الحرام فتحلق الناس حول الكعبة وصلوا بصلاة الإمام ومن كان منهم أقرب إلى الكعبة من الإمام جازت صلاته إذا لم
Okay, so
يكن.
this is what I was telling you. This is an important basla here. Important basla, especially for the men, maybe not so much for the women because the women, they're not right on the mataf. So see, in simple words, according to the Hanafi madhab also, the side where the Imam, you remember the Kaaba got four sides, right? How many sides the Kaaba got? It's a rectangular thing, right? The side where the Imam is standing, on that side you can't be fronted in front of the Imam. But if you're standing on another side, you can be closer to the Kaaba than the Imam. You understood that? So simple words, if the Imam is standing on the Hilton side, for example, you have to be behind him. But if you're on the side adjacent to that, you can be. So, oh yeah. So, since the Imam is standing on the one side, he's 5 meters from the Kaaba. They normally have a small distance from the Kaaba, 4 meters, 5 meters. You're standing on the other side of the Kaaba. You can be right against the Kaaba. You can be next to the Kaaba, even. It doesn't matter. But the side which you are, this is the Hanafi madhab. I told you the only madhab that allows you to be in front of the Imam is the Maliki madhab. Right. So we can check it up in that book that Fiqh Bada al-Arba'a wa Adillatuhu of Sheikh Wabah Zuhaili is one of the best books to have the different madhaib. You can check it up and confirm. You'll check it up tonight and confirm with me. You look under Qibla and you'll find it there. Right. So on the side where the Imam is standing, a lot of times you get this question on the ulama groups in it that when it's very, very full, etc. So the suits goes beyond the Imam. So the side where the Imam is not there, then you can be closer to the Kaaba than the Imam. But the side where you are standing, you have to be behind him. You understood that? Right? See there. وإذا صلى الإمام في المسجد الحرام, when the Imam reads in the Masjid al-Haram, فتحلق الناس حول الكعبة, the people make circles around the Kaaba, right? وصلوا بصلاة الإمام, and they are reading, they're following the salat of the Imam. فمن كان منهم أقرب إلى الكعبة من الإمام جازت صلاته إذا لم يكن في جانب الإمام. So that person who is closer to the Kaaba than the Imam, I tell you he's lesser than, like, جازت صلاته, his salat will be correct إذا لم يكن في جانب الإمام, as long as he's not on the same side where the Imam is. If he was on the same side of the Imam, it will not be correct, right? لأن التقدم والتأخر إنما يظهر إن اتحاد الجانب, because whether you are in front of the Imam or whether you are behind the Imam, that is only relevant when you are on the same side of the Imam, on the same what you say, side, or the same, okay, side, yeah, the same side. But if you're on a different side, on a different angle, then we will say you are not in front of the Imam. Okay, read the next Ibarah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن صلى على ظهر الكعبة جازت صلاته خلافا للشافعي رحمه الله لأن الكعبة هي العرصة ولهو إلى
ومن صلى على ظهر الكعبة, whoever reads salat now on top of the Kaaba, he stands on top of the Kaaba, right? جاز الصلاة, his salat will be correct. خلافا للشافعي قدر ما مشي لأن الكعبة ده هي الفرصة والهواء إلى عنان السماء عندنا. So this is interesting masla. What we're saying is that the Qibla is not only the Kaaba. Listen nicely. Qibla is not only the Kaaba. The Qibla is that whole space above the Kaaba that goes right up till the heavens. Why? Because look here, if we say the Kaaba is only the Qibla, what about if you're living in a hotel next to the Kaaba there? And you are much higher than the Kaaba? You are not facing the Kaaba. You are facing the direction of the Kaaba. You understand what I'm saying? Right? You are facing the direction of the Kaaba. So we'll say that khala, that space that goes up, right up till the seven heavens, all of that is the Kaaba. So we say لأن الكعبة, because the Kaaba هي الفرصة, is that space or that opening, والهواء, and that atmosphere, إلى أنان السماء, right up till the uh, top of the heavens, according to us. دون البناء, not only the building. What بنائي? I got بناء. Yeah, that's right. I got بناء is wrong. It's مضاف دون البناء لأنه ينقل, because it moves upright. ألا ترى, don't you see, I will prove. ألا ترى أن لو صلى على جبل قبيس, in that time they didn't have the high hotels, but they just had the mountain. But today we got hotels. So if you're going to say no, I think as Imam Shafi says, look here, if the Kaaba is out of view, listen nicely, if the Kaaba is out of view, then you don't have to face exactly to the Ain Kaaba. But if the Kaaba is in view, you can see the Kaaba, then you have to face the exact Kaaba. Then you have to face the exact Kaaba. So we say, look here, so our answer to Imam Shafi, okay, if you're saying the Kaaba is in view, you have to face the exact Kaaba. If you're on Jabal Abi Qubais, you know where Jabal Abi Qubais, Luqman, you know where Zamzam Towers, I'm sure. On the right hand side, there's you go up to Azizia, then after that road there's a mountain there, there's a big building on top. That is apparently the king's palace or whatever. He comes once a year or twice a year to that palace, right? So they say, if it was that you have to face the Ain Kaaba, that means Salah al Jabli Abi Qubays wouldn't be correct, because you can see the Kaaba, but you're not facing the Kaaba, but you're facing that space. The fact that Salah is correct on Jabal Abi Qubays, even though the Kaaba is visible and you're not facing the Kaaba, but you're facing the direction of the Kaaba, it is correct, right? ألا ترى أن لو صلى على جبل أبي قبيس جازت, right? ولا بناء بينه ولا بناء بين يديه. There's no buildings in front of him. إلا أن يكره لما فيه. So we saying that salah technically is permissible, but it is makruh. It is makruh. إلا أنه يكره لما فيه, because you're leaving out ta'zim, the honoring the Kaaba. So obviously the Kaaba is a great place, etc. It's inappropriate for you to be standing upon it, right? وقد ورد النهي عنه, because there's a clear prohibition for it. عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, from Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم, that you shouldn't be standing on top of the Kaaba. I think there is a riwayat that says that as Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, after Fath Makkah, Nabi sallallahu made him stand on the Kaaba and give azan. Is it authentic riwayat? Huh? Yeah, I think that. So if somebody says, but how did Bilal stand on top of the Kaaba? So that was extenuating circumstances. That's not the norm, is the exception to the rule. Maybe there Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to, show that there's no such thing as racial inequality in Islam, etc., etc., etc. So that was because of extenuating circumstances. Alhamdulillah, that was interesting. That masla, especially about the circle around the Kaaba where you're reading, that's a very important masla. Many people ask that we ended up reading in front of the Imam. So as long as you are not at the side of the Imam, it's fine. But if you're on the side of the Imam, and in Masjid Nabawi also that's very important, especially with Hajj time, there's massive crowds, and you see most of the people, you know. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked at the amount of jahl. People, when you come there, you see, okay, some countries like, Indonesia, Malaysia, in those places, you must do a course, you must learn about Hajj first before you come there, before you get your visa, because the waiting lists are so long. But generally, the amount of jahal that these people, we in the other countries, they don't have the maktab system which we have, where you learn, at least every Muslim knows the basics. But there you'll see the amount of jahal and ignorance that there is. You'll be shocked. So you'll see people are standing in front of the Imam, they pray in front of the Imam. So فَلْيَتَنَبَّهْ عَنْ هَذَا. So Alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah Ta'ala, today is actually a very momentous day. We finished the whole of Kitab al-Salat, Aqimu salat, and what Allah say, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. The next thing is what? After Salat is Zakat. So Allah Ta'ala accept this from us. Allah Ta'ala show it in our Mizan. Allah give us the ability to practice upon it. Allah Ta'ala give us the ability to convey to those who don't know. Allah Ta'ala make it a means of our shifa, our cure. Let's give us brings of barakah in our lives, inshallah, so we can serve His deen. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll start with Kitab al-Zakat. May Allah Ta'ala accept from us. But subhanallah, subhanallah, bihamdika,